to a Lost in the Groove podcast, the Shin Dig Variety Show.
Podcasts about society and culture, discussing topics that we deal with now and the changes that are coming.
So with that, let's start today's topic.
Mike, take it away, man.
Let me take it away. So this is an incredible story, and we've heard about it for years now. I'm a resident of Los Angeles, so I'm well aware. I see it every single day, and maybe you are too, and you see it every day. So using this new law, LA City Council bans homeless encampments at 54 spots. Now, if you're a resident in one of those 54 spots, you may be thinking, fucking great. They're out of my area finally. But I've seen it in my area as well, where, they'll clean up certain areas, but the problem isn't fixed. It's just moved down the road somewhere. And for those of you who have not seen this problem in your neighborhood and you're beginning to, well, they probably just moved into your neighborhood recently. It's really unfortunate, but Dave, let's begin with a part of this article and let's share some facts.
Well, fact number one is I'm a New Yorker. That's fact number one. Fact number two, we got homeless people out here. It's not as bad as in LA. Actually, oddly enough, do you know where a lot of the homeless people live in New York City?
In the subway.
Yeah, underground.
Yeah, it's the warmest place to be, man. Fuck, it's freezing.
Yeah.
They would die, whether it's summertime from the humidity. If they lived on the surface, or during winter, they'd freeze to fucking death if they lived on the surface.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because when you go to this, you don't really see that many homeless people out. But I remember when I lived in LA, the homelessness was absolutely insane. It was everywhere. Where I worked, where I lived, where I ate, where I drove to the groceries. And it's not like I'm upset of it. It's so fucking depressing. I think to myself, oh my God. My God.
Yeah.
You poor guy. How do you live? How do you manage?
I mean, it's possible that some of these people might be happier than we are because they got no bills. But, if it was the difference between house or no house, shelter or no shelter, I imagine they would still take the shelter every single time. But, reading a piece of this here, LA City Council on Wednesday approved a ban on camping at certain locations in the first use of new laws that passed over the summer. In a 12-2 vote, the council outlawed sitting, sleeping, and lying at 54 locations in 3 of its districts amid contentious debate over the summer. The council enacted new rules regulating sitting, sleeping, and storing property near 5 hydrants, building entrances, driveways, libraries, parks, elementary schools, and several other locations. Inevitably, they move on to somewhere else. The problem isn't solved. They're just, it's the same reason why some of the laws here had changed, because they don't want to overpack the prisons. So a crime that would normally land you in jail, now it doesn't. So what do we see? The rate of crime increasing. This is, these are.
It's happening now in Chicago. Recently, there's been a bunch of thefts going on in luxury stores.
Yeah.
There's constant Bloomingdale's, Louis Vuitton.
Oh yeah. There's no consequence, right? So. Yeah. I mean, the consequence is that if you're caught doing it multiple times, you're definitely going to get prosecuted. But that's on the basis of getting caught. You can do it 10 times before you get caught, and that'll be considered the first time you did it, unless they find evidence on you that you've been doing it, right? But it's criminals are smarter than they look. It's a shitty situation, but these people do find ways to beat the system, and I think this is why the idea of defunding cops and whatever, I heard a politician say this not too long ago. You want to defund cops? Sure. But the next time you need help, call your local crackhead, not a police officer, and see what that'll do for you. And I just couldn't believe that a politician was saying this on camera, on national television, a major network. But the facts are the facts. I mean, I had LAPD visit me recently, and we were talking, and they were like, "Do you have a gun?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Well, you can get one if you want." I was like, "Shit, maybe I should." Basically, they're encouraging us to do our part in protecting our homes, our
Yeah, I mean
businesses.
it's 1884 Texas all over again. I mean, it's where you got your sheriff, and you got the Lone Ranger that comes to town, and everybody's got a rifle.
Maybe that's the safest thing to do.
Even old Pete, that's always been drinking by the saloon, he's got a gun. It's you know what? I don't want to laugh, but it's funny in the way that like this is reality. Like this feels like a low budget B movie. Okay.
But it's all real.
But it's all real, unfortunately, and it's like this is how it is. But here's the worst part out of all of this. It's not anybody's fault. It's nothing to do with our taxes. It's the people that are behind these programs. They make so much money and do absolutely nothing. They do absolutely nothing. Because you know what? The homeless committee that's in LA, it's pretty large. I think it has like 300 members.
Wow. Yeah, because the problem is that large. They might need 1,000 members. The look on your face is priceless. No, I mean, what were the numbers, right? 100,000 is the estimate. There's probably more. We were talking about it amongst ourselves. Maybe it's 200,000. And we're talking about LA alone. We're not talking about the whole state, as I mentioned earlier.
And believe it or not, actually, a lot of homeless doesn't actually mean that they live under a bridge. There's a lot of homeless that actually own cars and they go to work every single day. They just can't afford rent, so they live out of their car. That's also reality for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Like I was mentioning earlier, the people in Silicon Valley, sure, they make six figures, but still not enough to afford a place out there. So they live in their cars. Very much the same here in LA. So that number of 200,000 for LA is probably somewhere near the ballpark. But if we're looking at the entire state, we could be pushing, 250,000 people, 300,000 people. We don't know for sure.
Way more.
It's a real humanitarian.
California has the highest in homeless per capita than any other state in the U.S.
How is this legal?
Because it's California.
It's one thing to say that this problem just began and they have to find creative ways to address it, but it's been 10 years. I've been watching it for 10 years.
Look, to be very honest, it's like I'm from the East Coast and we know this out here. If you don't have that much money, you can live in New York in certain areas and you can get by. They're not fully populated, but you can live a pretty decent life. In like California, wherever you're fucking gonna go, it's gonna be expensive. Anywhere, like even in fucking Cupertino. Who the hell wants to live in Cupertino? What the bloody hell is out there? And it's like fucking $500,000 for like a 1-bedroom ranch home. I don't even know what the fuck they call them out there, but it's like
cabin.
Like we don't have this problem out here. Like I know, like Massachusetts is more expensive than New York. If you live out in like a small suburban town, a normal size home is like maybe $150,000, $200,000.
Gosh, that's
rent is maybe like $750, maybe $500.
I'll take it. I would take that all day long, man.
Like it's just like, and I'm gonna be one of those, like like the West Coast likes to shit on the East Coast all the time, but we don't have these kind of problems. Might happen.
Yeah, but who wants to live in Massachusetts, right?
Who wants to fucking live in New York?
I mean, it's freezing. It's got
It's horrible.
You get no sunshine.
No.
You're in a fucking dungeon, like you've commented before in other videos.
I mean, it is a dungeon. I can't express this more. Yeah, this is the thing we have out in the East Coast. They're called basements. I know in the West Coast you can't get I know in California you can't get a basement. I don't think so.
Oh no, not if you want to fucking die in it during an earthquake.
Yeah, so no basements.
So, no basements. Yeah, but it's a very tough. It's a real humanitarian issue, and it's growing by exponentially year after year. I've watched it for 10 years, man. I couldn't believe it that 5 years had gone by and it's gotten worse. We're seeing RVs everywhere because people don't have any other choice. Broken down RVs that won't move for months or years at a time because it can't move. It's just, we're here. We're not leaving.
Yeah.
It's got to be, it's got to be tough for the people going through it. I can only imagine. But what about the tax-paying citizens that also, they pay way more to live in these neighborhoods, but they're not guaranteed the safety that they once had. I mean, it's not to say that they're all necessarily criminal within these demographics, but a criminal element is almost inevitable.
Yeah.
Right? If you're homeless and this is the situation, you're going to do whatever it takes to get by. And clearly the laws here are not on our side. Those that do follow the laws, we try to be law-abiding citizens. There's no justice for us hardly ever.
We kind of reached the end of this episode, but
well,
we've gotten to honestly, we have to face the facts. I don't want to be a pessimist, but I don't think the homeless problem will ever be fixed in LA. I think it's going to get much worse, and people are just going to start to move out, and LA will kind of turn into what it was originally, which is only for the wealthy and no one else. But we'll see. We'll see what the future has. I mean, at the moment, right now, this is where we stand. But
I mean, that's gentrification for you. It's always happened, and we're seeing it all throughout different parts of LA over the years. They tear down, they buy whole city blocks, they tear them down, redevelop them, make them expensive. People move out because they can't stay, and then it attracts different demographic of people who can't afford it, and the cycle continues. But there's got to be affordable living that's manageable. It can't just be, let me get by. It needs to be manageable to where at least some people can have hope.
Honestly, LA, I don't think affordable housing will ever be a reality. Never. It'll never happen.
What's funny is the other day I was talking to somebody, and they have a real estate company. They're a holdings company, development company, financing company. They do a lot of things from within, and they're unloading. They're selling all their properties within the state because the taxation for them is very, very high. So these people aren't necessarily uber wealthy, but they have managed to do something that is very difficult to do. Get multiple multi-unit properties, in Los Angeles and various areas of Southern California, develop this portfolio, and they're getting taxed so much on that income that they're like, screw it, I'm selling all of these and I'm going to buy in Georgia, or I'm going to buy in, South Carolina, Texas, Nevada, places where they feel like at least they're not getting raped on the tax, and places where it's not this bad right now. At least right now. Doesn't mean it can't change, but it's really bad. But well, I mean, it is what it is. What do you guys think? Leave them down below. As always, your opinions and feelings matter, whether you love it.
We love our haters. God bless them.
So comment. With that, thank you guys for watching. But yeah,
Yeah,
what were you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say, guys, just make sure to like and subscribe as always, as this helps the algorithm. We mentioned also to comment. This also helps to grow our channel, and also to build the Lost in the Groove fam. Also, guys, make sure to check out our Discord. We have a Discord page where you guys can chat with us. All the links and everything will be in the description box below. So we'll see you guys in the next one. We love you guys. Take good care and stay safe. Peace.
Peace.